Okay, good morning, folks. This is Thursday morning, and we're going to reassemble our carburetor this morning. You see, we've got pieces here. We still got more pieces to get out of the parts cleaner, but I'm cleaning the metering valve here. And one of the things you need to do is to make sure these little holes in there are clear. The only way you can do it, let me put my hand up here. Can you see that little piece of wire I got? That's a piece of wire out of a wire brush. That's the only thing small enough to go through here. And you run that through there, through all of them holes. Make sure it's clear. And this one here has a very small orifice in it, if I can hold my hand still enough. Very small orifice in it, so you run that wire down inside there like that. Yep, you go in that end, and then you go in this end too. Make sure it's clear, and then I'm going to take some parts cleaner and squirt it through there. Make sure that's clear. And I have already been cleaning on this one, and I shot down through here, and I shot through there, and I'm getting clear squirts out everywhere. So then all we got to do is screw this piece back in here. And the only reason I took this one out was because when I squirted down through it, I couldn't see where it was coming out. But we've got it clear now. Alright, so now we're going to take our seal and reinstall our seal here. Actually, we want to reinstall that on the other part of the carburetor, because the other part of the carburetor actually has a recess to hold it. So, alright, so I do want to make sure that I used the same needle and seat that came out. And this is the one that we took out. This is the carburetor we're going to use, and it's still nice and clean. And I'm going to wipe it off anyway, just to be sure. There actually is a little bit of stuff on there. So we'll squirt a little bit of carburetor cleaner or parts cleaner right there, just like that. And we'll wipe this off. Make sure we get all the varnish off it, because we don't want that to be sticking in the seat like the other one was. The other one was stuck. Okay, now this is our float, and you have this little clip here. Whoops, get you in frame. Have this little clip here that slides onto this tab. See that? Yep, just like that. And then we're going to take this over here. And we're going to slide the needle valve down into the hole. Then I need to grab my pin, my pivot pin, and slide it through the pivot part on the float, just like that. Now, if you look at that, that float is set too high. That float should be level like that. And as I'm thinking back now, I'm thinking that was the reason I swapped this out, was because it was flooding over. So we need to get this so it sits up here level like that. And to do that, I need to bend this little tab down in here. And I just need to bend it down a little bit. Just enough so that it makes my float parallel with the top of the carburetor. See that? So now we're good to go. Now we'll get the other part of the carburetor out of the parts cleaner and we'll stick it back together and we'll put it on the goofy cart. Now we got our float bowl is all nice and clean now. So we're going to install it on our carburetor. And you can see I put the seal on. And 3 screws later, we're just about ready to install it on the goofy cart. If you don't have shaky hands like me, it's a pretty simple project. Just in case you're wondering, no, I don't have Parkinson's. I have what is known as intentional tremors. And essentially what it is whenever you're trying to do something and your focus is on holding something still, that's when your hands start shaking. And it gets worse as you get older. So you learn to deal with it the best you can. Makes it hard doing modeling, I can tell you that. And for that reason I have cut way back on building model cars and even gave away a bunch of it. Okay, now before I put it back on the goofy cart, I've got to swap over my throttle linkage. Well, we've got the carburetor all mounted back on. We got a temporary fuel tank up here. We got fuel line hooked up. We got fuel going down to the carburetor. And you all are here as witnesses. Let me put my overflow line on the bottom of the carburetor here and route it down through the hole that we have reserved for it. Right down in there. Just like that. And let's give it a whirl. I got the choke on. There's no gas in it, so it might take a minute for it to fill up. We'll see. Oh, battery's dead. Okay, we gotta go get the battery charger, charge it up again. Okay, we're recording. Alright, we got it all installed again. Carburetor's hooked up, temporary fuel tank. Throttle linkage is in. Choke is on. There's no fuel in the carburetor, so it'll take a little bit to get it up to speed, I think. Let's see what happens. We got the charger on the battery. Okay, it's going to run. Now, probably need to just set the idle up a little bit higher, which is nigh unto impossible on this thing because the exhaust goes right by the throttle linkage, the idle adjustment. We'll open the choke just a little bit. Give it another try here. Come on.
Well, that part works.
The carburetor will have to be adjusted, of course. Hey guys and gals, it's me, George, the Shade Tree Kick.
Fix it, man. Shade Tree Fix it, man.
And we have changed the carburetor back to the PZ30. I could not get the PZ27 to work properly. So we have cleaned this one, put it all back together, and now it is working fine and dandy. And we're going to run it through the gears. And Mr. Andrew is going to run the camera. Use the handle.
Okay.
And he's going to follow my directions. Now he's looking at the motor. So you see the motor start. Here we go. You see the clutch turning. Down in there. Okay. Now we're going to split gear. There's first here. Because we don't have it hooked up to the key. So we got it working, it's going through the gears, it seems to be functioning properly. So the very next thing we're going to do, and probably not today, because we've been tinkering around with these carburetors for quite a while, and we had to charge the battery and all them good things that you saw. Well, I'm not exactly sure where I left off, but I have the body back on and bolted down now. And I'm getting some of the wiring done, but I'm going slowly on that because I'm running into some issues with my connectors. But it will fire and start, but I have a major problem with my throttle cable. So I've got to get another throttle cable, so I have no throttle at the moment. And of course you can't run the throttle without a cable because it works through here. So yeah, it did start. I don't know if it'll start now. If I let me set you down over here, and I'll show you that it does start, and if I had throttle, it would actually start and run pretty well. It starts right up, but I haven't got throttle available at the moment, so we'll have to mess with that. So that part of the problem is taken care of. We ended up swapping carburetors back around. I took off the PZ27 because no matter what I did, I couldn't get it to work right. It wouldn't run right, couldn't adjust it, anything else. So we're back to the PZ30. I made a new adapter plate to go between the intake manifold and the carburetor because this has a larger venturi on it. And you remember the one I had made before, I goofed up on it and it didn't work right. Yeah, so anyway, so we made a new one of them, and that's ready to go, and I've got most of my wiring is hooked up. So mainly I've got to wait on my throttle cable. So we're going to see what happens. I have ordered some. I hope it'll be here by next Wednesday. But in the meantime, I'm going down to Tractor Supply tomorrow and see what I can find there, or even the hardware store. If I could find a universal bicycle brake cable kit, I'd be happy as a pig in a mud puddle, because I could make that work. I think we have taillights. Do we have taillights? No, that's, oh yes, gotta have the key on, George. Gotta have the key on for the lights to work. See both lights light up on the dash, and we got tail lights there and a tail light up there, and well, I can't reach back far enough. Well, if I show you in here, I'm going to turn the regular lights off, but you look right in there, and when I push down on the brake pedal, you'll see we have brake light. Oh, look at back there. See? Can you see it in the... Oh, let me turn the lights off. Then you'll be able to see it. For sure you'll be able to see it. Now you can see the... Now I can't find the brake pedal. There you go. How do you like them apples? So that works. So I think one of the things that's not working at the moment, because I don't have the wires hooked up, I gotta find my light switch. There it is. Because I don't think my horn is hooked up. No, that's this wire here that has not been hooked up yet. So I think that's the last thing to be hooked up, actually. Everything else is hooked up that way. So we're mainly waiting on the throttle cable. And of course I got to put all my cap dooflickies back on here, you know. And all it requires is a little bit of silicone in there, and you push them down on and they'll stick on there. And then I've got to bring this around and hook this back up here, and bring this around and hook this back up over here. And I have another wrench that goes in there. It looks like I got to take this off and clean it, paint it, because it's rusting. Yeah. So those are the kind of things that got to be done. And but we're making progress at it. We got to get the seat back in it. Then we got to do a major cleaning on this thing. This thing is filthy. Of course, it's got hay in it, because this was sitting on hay bales over in my storage shed. Yeah. So that's where we're at. So hold on to your hats, and we'll keep at it. Oh yeah, does my headlights working? They should. Oh yeah, see that? Can you see the headlights working? Yipper. There they are. Yep. And you'll notice that when the headlight switch is pulled on, this light lights up. You turn the lights off and that light goes off. So this is a safety for me to make sure that I have them off, and this light here is also a safety to make sure I turn off the ignition switch. So we don't want the battery going dead, you know? So I think I'm ready. I could bolt my seat in here too. But we're real close. If I can find a cable of some sort tomorrow, then I will be ready to take it for a ride. Oh, well, yeah, I guess I could use that temporary gas tank to do a test ride on it. But I've got to get working on that gas tank, get it cleaned up and painted, and put the sticker on it and everything else. So, no more babbling. Till next time, this is George. I don't think I can get back far enough in here for you to see the whole thing. This is George, the Shade Tree Fix-It Man, in the shop with a goofy cart. Bye for now. Don't forget to drink your Pepsi Cola.